Welcome to Teen Talk, Navigating Teen Challenging Behavior. I am Pei Yi. I'm a parenting and teen challenging behavior specialist at Rainbow Parenting Practice. Over the last 30 years, I've worked with children, teenagers, and then families with various complex needs across different settings. But it is my personal story being a troubled teenager that led me to the creation of my innovative parenting method, Thriving Together Parenting Method. It can help you and your teen to have a more loving, respect-driven relationship and the happiness and harmony in your family home in 90 days. No matter what challenging behavior it is, how challenging it has been, and for however long your family has been in a difficult place. Many families came to me when they were in crisis or at breaking point. My TTP method is the secret to their transformative family lives. It can be yours too. I am thrilled for you to be here, and that possibly means you are a successful but stressed out parent who is managing a very demanding job but struggling to know what to do and how to help your troubled teen who is stuck in patterns of challenging behavior. You're fed up with trying everything, but nothing works. You're looking for solutions yesterday and are determined to do whatever it takes to help your teen and family thrive. At Teen Talk, Navigating Teen Challenging Behavior, I will share all the insights I've learned from working with families and their teenagers over the years. I will not hold back. Let's dive in. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome back to the show. It's Pei and
Belle.
yeah, it's good to have Belle back because Belle has been really, really busy.
Yes.
But if you missed our previous episodes, please do go back because Belle's sister was with us. That was a really good episode where we talk about teenage entitlement and attitude, didn't we? Yeah. And then last week, I had Belle's mom on the show with me. And that was interesting too. So go back to listen to our episodes. But I'm glad to have Belle back. It's always good to have Belle's insight. So if this is your first time listening to our show, Belle's and I had a set of cards where we will choose the cards to talk about what we will speak about today. Everything is unscripted and uncut. So Belle, given you have been away for a few weeks, I will let you decide when to stop. So I just shuffle the cards.
Okay. Stop.
Oh, okay. Oh, let me see what this one is. Sorry, my nose is itchy. Oh, this will be interesting, huh? This one is you see the cards? It's like a bottle. It's like a jar and with a butterfly in it. And this one is called Can't Do the Things I Want to Do. Well, Scottish will say, can I do the things I want to do? So teenage, can do the things I want to do. Interesting. Okay. So what are you thinking? What are your thoughts? What are your initial thoughts?
Well, it's similar to what we've talked about before. It's parents. It's like the balance between strict parents and having a social life and all these sorts of issues.
That's interesting because you're thinking about the parental perspective. What are the parents restricting the teenagers to do because of the boundary setting? But I'm thinking about all the things teens want to try, experiment without their parents knowing it, or they know it, but they can't do it. I was thinking like, smoking weed, secretly drinking alcohol, have a puff, vape, go to parties, concerts at late night, sneaking out of the house at night because they're not allowed to go out with their pals to the parties or, things like this. So I don't know, as a teenager, have you experienced anything you wanted to do, but you can't do because of the expectation or...
Social life wise, my parents have like given me quite a lot of freedom ever since I was younger. Like they've not I'll go out and like obviously they're like have a talk with me, like make sure you don't take it too far, whatever. But like they've not like asked me too much about what I've been doing or anything. But I know for a fact that based on my friends and my experiences, I'm like a very strong believer that if you like just simply like don't let your child do things, then they'll do it behind your back and they'll keep secrets from you, and that is just what happens. Like there's no way around that. They're never gonna, if you say to them like, I don't want you doing this, they're never just gonna like react to that by not doing it. Like that'll make, if anything, it'll make them want to do it more. And even if they don't do it at the time, they'll grow up and move out the house and they'll do it. Like, so yeah, I think the best, because I've been brought up very, like, my parents have been very honest with me. Like they've always been like, I've had that relationship with them. I don't have to hide things from them, like social life wise or anything. Maybe a bit too much to an extent. Maybe they should have been a bit more strict. But yeah, I think it's so important to have that freedom with social life. Because we've talked before about like how sometimes parents can be strict, but like how that also sometimes can be a good thing and it's necessary. But when it comes to social life, I really don't like, unless it's like drugs and stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? I really don't believe in like control over that. I don't think it does anything. So
That totally makes sense. You know what you say about like if the parents tell their teenagers not to do certain things, they would definitely want to do more. I
yeah,
suppose the
definitely.
bit is about when a parent tell their teenagers, I don't want you to do these things, do they actually explain why?
Yeah, exactly.
Or it's more authoritarian, like, you know what, you're not doing that because it's just a no-no in the family. It does make me think about my own teenage life though, because back then my parents were really strict parents. I don't know, maybe they were just very worried, you know. So like in terms of going out with friends, and do you know what, you'd be surprised, I never ever had a sleepover. Ever.
Yeah, wow, yeah.
It's just different culture, different era. But my parents were really strict in terms of when I get to go out, who I get to see. Do you know, in my school years as well? Oh, that's another thing. Do you know what? I think some of the teenagers don't like school, but then they might want to drop out of education. But I don't think parents largely will agree with that. It's just like, you know, you need to finish your secondary school, then,
Yeah.
you know, have you, what are your thoughts on this?
What about
Like
leaving
teenagers
school?
want to leave school.
Yeah, well, I wanted to leave school, and I think if I was given, like, my mum obviously wouldn't have let me, and I'm glad, because if I was given the freedom to just leave school, I would have, but I like school now.
What time were
Um,
you when you wanted to leave school?
15, 14 sort of age.
And what made
But
you want to leave school?
I just hated school, everything about it. I hated school, hated the work, hated some of the people, it just wasn't the best. And I know a lot of people have that experience, but I do believe like I have friends who left school a year early and went on to do college and enjoy a lot more. Like I don't think leaving before S6 is the biggest deal in the world. But I think fair enough, like you have to get your highs first because like that sets you up. But
Because it does affect your professional opportunities, no, in terms of education.
yeah, no, it really does. I think if you have on your sort of CV that you've not done S5, it's harder to get into universities or colleges, and there obviously are ways, but yeah, I think S5 is very important. But then again, like just telling your child like no, you can't drop out wouldn't help anything. Like you'd have to actually, first of all, show concern for why they want to drop out, talk to them about it, and then just really support them for the next years to help them finish school. And like, do you know what I mean? Like just support them emotionally, like if they're obviously not enjoying it, but like tell them why, like, explain to them why it is important.
So what helped you work through the process when you didn't want to stay in school?
Well, I I came back after summer and well, I'd already been doing a lot better in my own life personally before that point, but I just had not, I've never been good at work. I have dyspraxia and like stuff like that. Like I can't, sometimes it takes me to, I process things differently sometimes. So lessons and stuff are really hard for me and I'd forget things. And anyway, it was just quite difficult. So I just got in the habit of coming back from school, not remembering anything I'd learned, and then being bombarded with assignments and exams, not having to, every time I had to do an exam assignment or an exam, I had to start afresh. Like I had to research the information myself. because I didn't process it. So it was just the exhausting process that I just gave up on. So after summer, I kind of realized, okay, this is my higher year. Like, this is very important. Like, I have to do well this year. And I'd done awfully the year before, so I knew I had to do exceptionally well to make up for it in terms of university. So most of the year, like I started the year off, I really worked hard. I did all my work and extra work. I like stayed on top of everything. I dripped a bit at Christmas, but like that was okay. I recovered. I didn't do that great in my prelims, but like I knew that I got better at working. And then for my actual exams, I just worked so hard. And what got me through it was thinking, okay, I have to do it, first of all. Second of all, I had self motivation to do it because I wanted to do well, which if you don't, that would be hard. And third of all, I just really like, I was like, okay, well, I have to work so hard, and I'll know that I can go into summer and I know that I've tried my absolute hardest, and whatever I get is fair enough. Because I'd never tried my hardest in school because I hated it. So yeah, it paid off really well. But yeah, definitely getting me through it was having the self motivation and actually wanting to do well myself rather than my parents, who had never pushed me. They'd always wanted me to do well in school, but like, you know, they'd never like put me under pressure for it, which was bad and good. But it then meant when it came to S5, I really got that from myself to do well, which meant it was better. So yeah.
That's cool. You got that motivation from yourself. What about the support in school in terms of for your dyspraxia? There are no support for that.
Well, that also was the thing. After summer, they got me into support learning, which is just like a few periods a week in my free periods where I'd normally go to the library. I had to go to the support learning room where I'd just do my work and they would, you know, help me out or anything, which was helpful for me at the start of the year in terms of it got me in the habit of actually working. So I'd have to work. So it got me in the habit of that at the start of the year. But after a while, I didn't find it that necessary because it wasn't that helpful and they didn't ask that many questions. And I did find that they prioritized the boys a lot more, who showed their struggles a lot more. So yeah, there's only a certain extent it can go, but that definitely did help. And I also just having the recognition from the school that I needed a bit of extra help and I was okay, that having that diagnosis that okay, they're the reason I'm struggling and always falling behind, gave me more motivation because I was like, okay, that just means I have to work harder. It's not that I'm just bad. So yeah, that helped.
So it sounds like you work through a process like, you know, I didn't want to do this, but then you can visualize what you want for your future.
Yeah.
Then you were able to
exactly
push yourself.
Because I knew I had to do well. Yeah, I knew I had to do well and I knew I had to just, okay, this year I'm just gonna have to really try hard. And I did actually like stop doing much work for 2 months and stuff, but I picked it back up with study leave. I just studied like 7 hours a day every single day and it was fine. But I mean I started off doing like 3 or 4, but I did it at the library with my friends, so it wasn't as bad. But yeah,
that was amazing, babe. I don't know where you got that strength and motivation.
I don't know either. I wish I could get it back. But
it's crazy. It's so good. I remember when I was in secondary school, seriously, I mean, I did so bad academically, as I say this many times, because I was a late bloomer and I was always the last, like, you know, like the smallest, the most unintelligent kid in the class. So then even when I went to secondary school, one day I just like, oh, this is what math is about. That was what history was about. But I wasn't really, I mean, I was really achieving high scores and like high grades in school, but I didn't manage to get to like, you know, the university I wanted to, because in that time you need to take exams, and I'm sure it's pretty much the same system. Slightly varying system in Scotland. You still need to show your good grades. And actually, I wasn't even worried that I didn't have college to go to. I was just like, oh, well, there's nowhere to go. And then suddenly there was somewhere to go. And that changed my life for the better. I wasn't expecting to say I have to go to the, you know, the national university, like University of Edinburgh or something. Back then, you want to go to public university, it was really, really difficult. You need to be like super intelligent. And then some of the friends I met in my later life, they're also from Taiwan. They all came to Scotland to study PhD. And they were talking about the era we were in, have to study so hard, after school program, cram school, just just boost your math and English and ability and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Like these two friends that I got, literally, they say, "Oh, just study for a month." And we went to the public national #1 top school. I was like,
Yeah,
what? It's so
yeah,
unfair. But
yeah.
the whole story was, but it didn't stop me from being where I am today. Because
No,
even
no.
though I was academically so behind, I didn't get to go to a good college, but I went to a college that changed my entire life, my life course.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then I am here where I'm today, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing my actually fourth master's to study.
Mm-hmm.
And that was coming from, I didn't want to go to school either. I didn't
Yeah.
find anything interesting. But suppose the point I'm trying to say is, where do the parents find the balance of supporting their teenagers to stay in education or
Mm-hmm.
not stay in education?
Yeah.
Because I can see a lot of teenagers probably thinking, why do I have to stay in education? You know what? There's a lot of people who are not in education, but they still have a very good professional life. They have their own
Mm-hmm.
business. They still can provide for their family, and they're still happy, and they make money early. They make money early.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true. That is true.
yeah.
Um, well, I guess it depends on their reasons. I think if it's like a mental health thing, I think that's something that you should just give them a lot of support with, maybe therapy or something. But you should stay in school because that's something that when they come out of, they probably will regret.
Mm-mm.
But if they're really motivated and to do stuff in life, but they feel school is holding them back and they feel that they're confident they could get there another way, I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, you could. There's a lot of people who do trades or stuff like that where they do leave early and they're making enough money, and it's like, yeah, I think it just depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Um,
But I suppose I'm quite trying to think about what does education provide for the young people,
yeah.
right?
Well, I think first of all, education and being able to get your highs and stuff just gives you a bit more support in life. Like, I think although you can get into universities otherwise, I think it just gives you a bit of, even just like, not maybe physically, but just knowing that, okay, I did good in our highs. Like, I can, it also, for me, the most important thing was I proved to myself from it that
Mm-hmm.
I can actually sit and work and achieve good grades. And that has given me so much more confidence. So even in terms of that, not even just the physical grades, like I feel like education, if you do well or if you like, really meet a goal or something, it can make you it gives you the skills to study, to be able to study and do well and do work and like just push forward through things that you don't really want to do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Um
And I
but yeah.
just interject here, Belle. I have to let
Mhm.
the audience know I am not opposing to education, right? I think
No,
education
no, no.
is very important, but I'm
Yeah.
trying to play the devil's advocate to think about
Hmm.
all the possible curiosities and revenues, because
Yeah.
you can argue this from so many different perspectives.
No,
It really
exactly.
depends on the family's values as well, because like you say, you could be coming from a family trade, or you just decide that I'm going to be this from a family.
Yeah,
I'm going to
there are so
build the
many different.
family business. I don't need to carry on. But in terms of the benefit for young people of education, it's not just like what you say. It's in addition to what you say, like, the confidence, what you can do, but you're actually also learning about a lot of knowledge, whether you use
Mhm.
them or not. It's debatable, but I don't
Yeah.
remember how to do algebra. Right, but we
No.
went for 3 years about algebra. But you don't know, you might have another Einstein, right, coming from this. But they learn the knowledge, but they also learn a lot of life skills,
Hmm.
in terms of also the social skills, the problem solving skills, and obviously, which I think is really valuable. And being a teenager, you need to be in that social environment, which
Hmm.
I don't think you can learn from feeling isolated or being at home all
No.
the time. You need that to know what other people are doing, what other peers are doing, what activities they're doing. So I do think education can offer the young people a lot. But I suppose, like you say earlier, the frustration or the challenge could be, like additional needs, or
Hmm.
when you experience difficulty in school, you might find it like, oh, why? Why do I need to stay on school? I can actually
Yeah.
easily get a job here and there, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's what I think my main like opinion on this is. Like, if someone is going to drop out of school, make sure there's a substitute for their free time, just for the sake of like or your friend or past friends, or if I also was gonna say, if like you don't have a social life in school, and that isn't, sometimes that is something you can't help. Sometimes these people in your school just aren't your people, and that's like quite simply all it is. So I would say just that means just study so hard, get your grades so you can leave as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would say if someone's wanting to leave school, be open minded, but I wouldn't ever let someone just like leave school unless they have college or a job or something to do with their time as a substitute. Like
Yeah.
to give them that life experience or social life that they're missing out on. Because I think in that case, like, if that's the path they're motivated to go down, like that's fine. Like that is okay. You don't I think nowadays you don't, it's a whole big thing, or you have to go to university, get a degree, but like degrees are meaning less and less every single year. And people who do get really good degrees and do well all throughout school can end up in a place where they're unhappy. So I do think you should go down a path you're motivated to go down.
Yeah, and a lot of people follow their passion and degree to study in university and come out getting a totally different job. That is not even
Yeah,
what they study. And
exactly.
there's also people who left the education, whether it's, I mean, okay, let's say they left university or the secondary
Mm-hmm.
school, but they go back in later life to
Mm-hmm.
be a mature student to, take modules
Mm-hmm.
to study.
And sometimes it's, yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's as simple as like when you're younger, I do really think it's weird that our kind of fates are a bit decided by how well we do in high school, because
Mhm.
what 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds is like, you know, there's very few that can achieve the grades that we need. But yeah, exactly. Like even later life, like it's not the end of the world. You can go back later when you're more mature, when you're in a better place, whatever. Like you think you can work, focus better. Like that's completely fair enough.
Mhm.
But yeah, like I do think there isn't one path. There isn't just university degree job. Like I don't think that's, and nowadays I don't think that's
Mhm.
necessarily means you're going to be set up for life.
I suppose what we're saying is all roads lead to Rome, right?
Yeah.
And if your teenage children say like, I want to leave school because this is one thing they probably want to do but can't do,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you say, talk through
Yeah.
what this is about and
Yeah.
and find the support for them to get through this and the pros
Mm-hmm.
and cons and the consequential thinking about what is next for when you make this decision, how is your life going to pan out? And when
Exactly.
you make this decision, what is that future going to look like? Because what teenager struggles is that consequential thinking. You're only
Mm-hmm.
thinking about now, right? Right now, I don't like it. I want to quit. Or right now, this is fun. I want to do more of. So
Mm-hmm.
that part is really important for parents or the professionals or teachers to help the young people to think through, why am I feeling like this and what, so they can make better and informed decision about their life
Yeah.
really. But I can totally understand the parental perspective because they been there they themselves, and they might have expectation for their children, teenage children, to have a good career, to have something they can rely on, so they don't have to worry about their finance or their life in the future. So it's understandable because they build themselves, so they can see how it might pan out for them. However,
Mm-hmm.
we spoke about this many times. As parents might forget, actually, this is still my teenage children's life.
Mm-hmm.
So that conversation, like collaborative conversation, does need to take place. And I say this to the parents all the time. When your teenager come to you to say, I want to quit school, your answer doesn't have to be a no. The no
Mm-hmm.
can come later, but you want to know why first. Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the parents say, no, you're not leaving school. You're definitely doing that. And sometimes I can make it even more difficult to speak to a teenager and work through this process with them. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
able to stay open-minded, that's interesting. What's happening? Tell me more. What are you planning for?
Yeah. I
They
think
might.
that is the most important thing, is like getting to the root of why this is,
Mm-hmm.
and then yeah, going from there, giving a no later if that's like necessary. But like yeah, because everything looks different, and from people I know or friends that have left school early or have wanted to, all the reasons are different.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them did leave and they're literally fine and they're going to university because they went to college or they moved school, even if that's, because that also is an option, moving school. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I definitely think talking and finding out why, because saying no is just gonna, if you just say no and they're wanting to leave school, your teenager is just going to shut down even more. They're going to not want to try in school even more. And they're just going to be unmotivated, even more unmotivated, because they're just like being retrieved by it.
I know. And then imagine that's your mom saying hi. Hi, Nikki.
Sorry.
Dr. Nikki Erickson.
She doesn't know I'm
in a So there's also another side of this veil is the teenagers want to go to school, but can't go to school.
That's just me in from the gym. Sorry.
Hi, Nikki. It's fine. It's not, so it's fine. You're just saying hi.
Yeah.
It's the teenage children, maybe in other culture or in another country, want to go to school, or I mean, even in Scotland, in the UK, want to go to school but can't go to school.
Exactly.
Could be, they could be carer for their parents.
Yeah.
I mean, education in Scotland is free, like secondary school is free, but there might be some of the reasons they couldn't go to school. And then in other countries, education means different thing. Like in Taiwan, education is like super important. There's just no option, no negotiation whatsoever. You will go to university and you will finish this, right? And then I think in Japan, probably Korea, Asian countries pretty much emphasize on that. But I'm just thinking about the countries that are less privileged. Sometimes the primary age children don't have a school to go to.
No.
Children don't have a school to go to. And that's another totally different discussion. But I suppose the one way to think about it is the teenagers in our country, in UK, are really fortunate to have a choice. And while things are really difficult, maybe it's thinking about what the privileges we've got.
Yes. Because it's so easy to forget that, and like all throughout school, if I hated it, like there are people there's lots of women as well who like can't go to school, never been allowed education. It's like they would love the opportunity to go to school.
Absolutely.
But that's I think if a parent was to react to like a child coming and say, I don't want to go to school, and them saying, there's people that are more fortunate, that is good, but also it's not, everyone is struggling with something. And when you're a teenager, you are a bit more selfish. You don't see outside of your own mind as much. So yeah, definitely like take that into consideration. But
absolutely, like poverty is one. Like my parents in their era, they were so poor, they had to drop out of high school, but they wanted to go to school. They just couldn't. But that again, that didn't stop them from being successful in their business or whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really, and you know what, I say this all the time. In the end of the day, it really comes down to a person's attitude, mannerism, their characters, how they've been brought up. That really matters, because when you have good values, you can actually achieve a lot of things in life.
And your motivation as well, I think. If you're motivated enough, people can see that, and it kind of manifests things as well if you're really motivated and really going towards something. So yeah, there's definitely ways around it. Yeah.
Well, that's been a really good chat. You know what? We're thinking of stock taking and other stuff. My dog is annoying. You hear her?
No, I heard her, but yeah.
Oh God, it's been a really good chat. I think my dog is telling me you talk too long, Peggy. It's time to stop. Right, so why don't we? But I'm really interested to we were thinking about like parental expectation, the restriction to drug taking, to actually what we have been focused on is on education. So I really should want to go to school, but I don't, or like I want to go to school, but I can't. So there are many things, and I was like, no, I'm just gonna. Right, so we're gonna finish this, Val. Probably will not have any curiosity for today because my folks are really joining me, man.
Okay.
Sorry, my audience. Join me on the next episode. Let me end this, Georgie now. Thank you to everyone at home or on the go for listening. If you find this show helpful, please hit that follow or subscribe button. It does wonders for the show, so more people can find Teen Talk, navigating teen challenging behavior organically. If you have any questions about anything we've talked about, please drop me a line at pei@teentalkpod.com. That is PEI-I@teentalkpod.com. I read every email I get. Whether that's an episode idea, a guest recommendation, or just a simple note about how the show has impacted you, I'd love to hear from you. I am Pei Yi, and I'll see you on the next episode.